DTF St. Louis's second episode is about filling in the gaps in the timeline. Clark's affair with Carol started after the cornhole party, but by the time of the swing set party, the two were already on rocky ground. Clark pitched DTF St. Louis to Floyd as a way to drive a wedge between the man and his wife Carol. What else did Clark do? Did he hire the man known as Modern Love to meet with Floyd? We're going to look at all the terrible possibilities on Let's Solve DTF St. Louis, Episode 2, Snag It. After meeting at the cornhole party, Clark quickly hits it off with Floyd's wife Carol. Later, detectives Homer and Plumb dig deeper into Clark's relationship with Carol and Floyd's time on the DTF app. We'll be breaking down each episode for clues, suspects, and red herrings on the hunt to learn who killed Floyd, if he was killed. Spoilers for the first 2 episodes of DTF St. Louis. If you haven't seen those first 2 episodes, pause this video. Speak up, please. Then come back and watch. Use the timestamps below to jump to the topic or suspect that you want to hear, and skip past things you do not want to hear. At the end of this podcast, we'll present the Clark hired modern love theory. Now, I want at the top to say that when we get to that theory, we're going to have to dive more into the real-life case that inspired this television show. Now, last week I did mention that DTF St. Louis was inspired by a real-life case, and I didn't want to go too deeply into the real-life story, but as the show has gone on to episode 2, I think that to make theories and to really understand the show, it almost helps to know more about the real-life case. So when we get to the Clark hired modern love theory section, I'm going to talk a bit more about specifics about the case. If you like murder mysteries and trying to solve them and diving into TV shows, please give me a subscribe, give me a like, give me a hype, give me a comment. If you're listening to the audio podcast, go to us on social media. That's at PHQ on all your favorite social media apps. Before we run down the suspects, let's see what episode 2 taught us about the victim, Floyd Smernitch. Floyd, let's talk about it right here at the top. Was he bisexual? What's going on? It appears that he does know that he's getting hits from men on the DTF app. Floyd did go meet Modern Love, we're told. And Modern Love's profile picture is a man, specifically David Bowie. There's talk of a sex tape with Modern Love and kissing and ass play. But Floyd also loves his wife too. We learned that despite financial troubles at the home, Floyd kept up his R&B dance classes at Dance with Miss Ashley's Dance Academy. And speaking of those financial troubles, Floyd's car is toast. The family is down to one single car, but they're also down to dance at the 314 Fest. Now, I really don't know how I'm going to be looking for clues, but Floyd's Peyronie's disease is obviously something we're going to have to research, and I don't know how I can research it without getting kicked off the internet. But if you look at Floyd's Indiana Jones Playgirl spread, does it look like he suffers from Peyronie's disease then? Floyd says Peyronie's was caused by blunt trauma. And he starts telling the story, he never finishes about the blunt trauma. A bit like earlier when he was asked why does he do sign language, Floyd said it was about this Peyronie's disease, but then he never explained that either. Is Floyd specifically hiding something, keeping something from Clark, or is he just tell stories and never get to the point? Now let's look at the suspects. First up, weatherman Clark Forrest, aka Tiger, aka Big Bang, the Bangmaster. Clark is #awkward when he's flirting with Carol. He makes this outrageous flirtatious brag about being the man behind a deep-sea demolition company in Canada and his nickname of Big Bang. Awkward. Clark is also #not smart. His face is on billboards all over town, but he feels comfortable going to professional and little league baseball games to be with the woman who isn't his wife. We learned that Clark was assigned a prescription for amphazine 6 days before the murder. And of course, that's the drug that killed Floyd. In our new understanding of the timeline, Clark and Carol have quite a few meetings at the Quality Garden Suites. But once Carol shows compassion at the 314 Fest for her husband, Clark is jealous. And after that, he is anxious to break them up. He invites them over to the swing set party. And that's when he tells Floyd about DTF St. Louis. Now, it's tough to tell exactly at the swing set party what the state of Carol and Clark's relationship is, because he's moving the swing set to check out his neighbor. Has Carol already called it off before the swing set party? Now, after getting Floyd into DTF St. Louis, one of the hookups is with his own. He's catfishing him as Tiger. To say this correctly, Tiger sent a message to Floyd's DTF profile to meet at the pool. Tiger, we're told, is from Clark's IP address. You would ask, is that a work IP address? Is that an IP address that Clark's wife, Eimy, might also be using from home? Let's put that in the back burner for now. Of all these meetings, Clark says, seemingly honestly, to the police, Floyd didn't use the app to meet men. The final thing to think about, in his phone call to his wife, Eimy, Clark says, I don't understand what happened. I had that thing with Carol. I'm sorry. You say a sentence like this as if your wife knows about the thing with Carol. When did Eimy learn it? And let's look at Eimy next. At the cornhole party, Eimy talks to Floyd about the dance classes at Dance with Miss Ashley. And later, we see Emmy's 2 daughters attending classes there. Eimy also attends the 314 Fest, which is theoretically right in the middle of Clark and Carol's affair. Let's look at Floyd's widow, Carol, next. At the cornhole party, Carol is really extra, laughing way beyond belief at Clark's lame wisecracks. Carol brings up this Jamba Juice as if she knows it's near the television station where Clark works. Carol lies and tells Clark that she drinks the same drink he does, the go-getter. Carol goes to Jamba Juice, doesn't order her usual juice, and instead orders Clark's drink and then waits who knows how long for Clark to show up. Later, Carol lied to the police, claiming that Clark was the first one at the Jamba Juice when they first met. Carol's not DTF, she's almost DFC, down for Clark. I mean, she is acting up a storm, pretending she doesn't know anything about baseball and needing Clark to teach her at the St. Louis Cardinals game. Another thing you might wonder is Carol keeps implying her job at Purina is kind of a bigwig job. But does Purina not pay enough for a supposed bigwig like Carol to support a small family? To not be able to get a second car running? And I got this great comment from a member of the DTS crew. DTS, as you know, means down to solve. The Mean Hornet wrote, Carol did something to Floyd's car. Ooh, that is fascinating. At the beginning, she's all about Clark. She wants to make his dreams come true. But at that 314 Fest, Carol is reconnected to Floyd. She loves him so much, she wants to grow old with him. Also at the 314 Fest, Carol wonders if Floyd's heart could give out. Did that inspire Clark to do something evil? Carol claims that Floyd did not have a life insurance policy. She tells the police that she told Clark many times that she wasn't going to leave her husband. What is true? Floyd's stepson, Richard. We're told that Richard initially was signed up for a 3-month dance class, but he didn't enjoy it. Richard apparently doesn't like sports either. If Richard doesn't like sports, why is his mom signing up to be an umpire? Christopher Robert Spurse, aka Modern Love. Christopher says he met Floyd for breakfast, which led to a little intimacy play, kissing, ass play, grinding. One thing I would wonder, now again he says he met him for breakfast, that would be kind of bright during the day, right? Did Modern Love really meet with Floyd for the kissing, ass play, and grinding? Or did he think he was meeting Floyd, but he actually met Clark? What is going on with Modern Love? Now let's get to the Clark hired Modern Love theory. And as I mentioned earlier, this is going to tie into the real life case. Now the real life case was about a person who died, Thomas Coleman. It was found out that his friend, not a weatherman, but a dentist by the name of Dr. Gilberto Nunez, was indicted for killing Thomas. And Dr. Nunez was apparently having an affair with Thomas's wife, Linda, okay? Now, this stuff did not happen in St. Louis, once again, he was a dentist, not a weatherman. This is inspired by, not based on. Now, what's interesting to note about this Dr. Nunez, the dentist, who in many ways inspired Clark the weatherman, is Nunez did a lot of wacky, crazy things because he was in love with his friend's wife and he wanted the wife to be single so he could be with her. He was charged with posing as a CIA agent. He told people he was authorized to implant tracking devices in patients' teeth. I mean, this guy was crazy. Nunes was so in love, he wanted Linda to tell her husband Thomas that they were having an affair and end the marriage, but Linda didn't want to end the marriage. So Dr. Nunes bought a disposable phone, and posing as a woman, he sent Thomas a series of texts designed to, "Hey, your wife is having an affair with the dentist." Thomas confronted his wife, she confessed she was having an affair, and then she confronted Nunes saying, "Hey, you sent my husband these text messages." Nunes, who had sent them and was posing as a woman, denied he sent them, and instead he accused the friend of sending them to himself. I mean, this guy was crazy. But the Colemans were like, okay, well, who sent these text messages telling my husband about the affair? They're going to hire somebody to investigate. The dentist is very nervous. So he tells him, "Oh, I can help you find out who sent it. I have a friend who's a CIA computer expert who could determine the origin of the text messages." And he went to his dental office's IT guy, gave him $500, said, "Hey, pose as a CIA expert and meet with the Colemans." This is wacky, ridiculously crazy stuff. Since the show is being inspired by this real-life crazy case, and the real-life dentist did all this wacky stuff to break up the wife and his friend who were married because he wanted to be with the wife, theoretically Clark did something similar. And what could get Carol to leave Floyd? Well, what if he tried to make Carol think that her husband was meeting dudes through an app? Wouldn't that be a good way to make Carol leave Floyd? It's my theory for this week. What do you think? Who do you suspect? How did Floyd die? Go down in the comments and let me know. Episode 3, we're almost at the halfway point. I'll talk to you next week.